What's going on, YouTube? This is Dan from Plastic Model Building 101. And I just wanted to tell you guys it's great to be back. I've been out and about, got a new job with Home Depot and been working for Home Depot for a little over a year now. It's great. Anyway, without further ado, I want to talk to y'all about the next kit I'm building. I am currently building some, I am a member of the Vietnam War Flight Museum located in Houston, Texas. Our museum is located at Ellington Field. Matter of fact, it's the old Coast Guard hangar over there for those of you who live in Houston. Anyway, without further ado, I want to show you my next project where I'm going to be building. And before I do anything, I like to talk about the kit. So, without further ado, this is my next kit, the Tamiya Fiesler Storch, or Storch. Well, some people call it Storch, some people call it Stork, tomato, tomato, potato, potato, who knows. But I'll give you a little bit of history on the Fiesler Storch. The Fiesler Storch, it first flew in the 30s, like around 1935, 36. It was used during the Spanish Civil War. And one thing which really, it really made its mark during the time when Mussolini was captured the first time by Italian partisans, and Hitler authorized a rescue operation to go and get him. So they sent in a group of German Fallschirmjäger, or German paratroopers or commanders or whatever you call them, to go in and rescue him, in which they did, and they used a Fiesler Storch to airlift him out. One thing about the Fiesler Storch had an amazing STOL, or known as short takeoff and landing capability. The Fiesler Storch, it got its name because of its long, as you can see, because of its long landing gear, just like a stork. Anyway, the Fiesler Storch was used in all battlefronts, all the way from the Spanish Civil War. It was used especially in North Africa during the Battle of El Alamein. Matter of fact, Erwin Rommel, the Desert Fox, the commander of the Africa Corps, the Fiesler Storch was his favorite airplane, and that's what he used to monitor all operations against the British and later on the Americans in North Africa. The Fiesler Storch was also the last airplane shot down over Europe by, believe it or not, an L-4 Grasshopper. Grab that. After the war, the Fiesler Storch soldiered on. The French used them. Matter of fact, they took over the production, and the French used them in operations against the Viet Minh in Southeast Asia at the time when Ho Chi Minh was battling independence from France. The French used the Fiesler Storch in the Battle of Dien Bien Phu. On top of the French used F-4U Corsairs, F-8F Bearcats. They used Bell 47s, H-34s, H-19s. They used a variety of aircraft, and also they used a few captured Japanese aircraft. They used some Japanese Zeros. They used some Rufuses, which the Ruf was a Japanese Zero with floats. They also used some Oscars. As a matter of fact, in order to maintain them, they had a few Japanese maintenance crews that they were interned during the war until they were released back to Japan. As a matter of fact, they just flew those airplanes until the wings practically fell off. The French also used, believe it or not, Ju-52s, the Iron, also known as the Iron Annie. And I am building this. I'm building this airplane for the Vietnam Warfighting Museum. I'm starting with some airplanes that were used against the Viet Minh, and then later on against the Americans, the Allies. I mean, because America was just not the only one that was involved in Vietnam. You had Thailand, you had Australia, you had South Korea, you had those were the main allies during the Vietnam War. Without further ado, I like to show you what's on inside this kit. I'm sure a lot of you already have this kit. Some of you probably have already built it. Let me know what you think about it. But I have here the photo etch of the kit. As you can see, this is part of the landing gear. This is the wing spar that you put in the wings. This right here is the armor plating you put behind on the pilot seat. This is the instrument panel. This is another part of the instrument panel, and this was part of a seat rack. So great. It was a good photo etch parts right there that we're going to be using in that. Now I went ahead and took out the parts, and to my amazement, they went ahead and glued the canopy to the fuselage. So I mean, this is great. I mean, to be honest with you, in some ways it kind of saves workload. As you can see, there's these parts. There's hardly any flash on these parts. Tamiya once again has done some perfect engineering on these parts in the kit. To go through here, I have a figure of Erwin Rommel and another general. I think this is supposed to be Mussolini. I'm not too sure, but this is Erwin Rommel, like I said, that was his favorite airplane. You also want to build, if you want to build a diorama, you got a couple of barrels for fuel, oil, whatever. But this is also part for the interior as well. So this is part of it's another part still in this plastic. I don't want to get them all scratched up, but as you can see, there's just no flash on these parts. I can see right here, got to be a little careful because there are some delicate parts. So when I'm doing some cutting the parts out, I'm gonna have to pay special attention when I clip them out. So here's the canopy. This is just phenomenal. They really, you have an option. Here's an option right here that you can put a machine gun, or you can just put a window back there. Either way. It's a great kit. You see these little from the mold injectors. From the mold injection. You just cut that and sand it. Great. Ball's great. I have here the instructions. The instructions right here, as you can see, exploded view of the drawings. All the parts and pieces, all the tools you're going to need, different types of variations of the Fiesler Storch that you can build. You can build a winter version, you can build a transport version, you can build a desert version. This also is in Germany, and believe it or not, even the Swiss used these. The matter of fact, they used these until about I think it was the 60s or the 70s. They were ideal airplanes for search and rescue, because they can get in, especially in real tight spots, and get in and pick people up and fly back out. And what was so unique about this airplane was it had the what you call the airfoils, the slats in the front of the wings, which gave the airplane more lift. That's why it had. The Fiesler Storch had a shorter takeoff roll than the J3 Cub, believe it or not. But as you can see, I mean, the instructions on this are just unbelievable. I mean, you just can't go wrong. You just can't go wrong with it. So anyway, I also have here the Tamiya is very generous in putting canopy masks, and I mean, this is, man, you can't go wrong with it. Also have here the decals. Looked at the decals, really neat. I mean, you can't just go wrong with the decals. I mean, now, as you notice, the swastikas are in a different decal sheet because of a lot of these kits that are sold either in Europe or in Asia. The swastika is, been banned. But I mean, still, but for United States, we can do that. So it's a great kit. And then as you can see, like right here, I mean, you got seat belts. I mean, instruments. I mean, like I said, this kit is just absolutely phenomenal. So next in the kit we have the painting. I mean, all the paint. I mean, the painting schemes. I mean, you have, like, during Operation Barbarossa, I mean, you have these airplanes. You have Operation Barbarossa. You have I'm sure this was probably used in Germany or France or something like that. And then you flip it over. You have also, like in the desert, like in Tobruk, Alamein, or Italy, or desert places. I mean, it's unbelievable. So as you can see, the kits, I mean, you just do not see any flash on these kits. It's just unbelievable. So hardly any flash. I am really stoked and working on putting this kit. Won't be tonight, but I will start, and I will try to do a step-by-step instruction on building the kit. So anyway, this is Dan Leone signing off. The Plastic Model Building 101.